Like I said, like John said, my name is Brian Johnson. I've been in charge of our boat and water division for about 10 years. But I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit, maybe if I even just nip some of the questions you might have. I might be able to answer them before you even ask them, and then we'll take any questions. A couple of things as far as our boat and water division. Our boat and water division is busy about 3 months out of the year. We have one full-time supervisor and one full-time deputy year-round. In the summertime, we add an additional full-time deputy that goes from June until Labor Day. And then we also have about 25 full-time deputies that are cross-trained with boat and water, and they help cover additional shifts on the weekends and evenings depending on when we need it. Because we just aren't able to justify a large amount of full-time deputies throughout the summer. In fact, that's not our sheriff's job. He doesn't have that ability to add more deputies to our boat and water division. That's something that has to be approved through our budget through the county commissioners. So we work with what we have. As far as what we have for our equipment, we have 8 boats in our fleet. 3 of them are dedicated to our river. They are not lake-style boats. They're boats that we would use on our rivers. We have 1 dive boat, we have 2 patrol boats, and we have 2 jet skis. Unfortunately, with this year, we had a boat go down last year that we had to get rid of. We ordered a brand new boat in March. We were supposed to take possession of it in June, but because of COVID, we just got it last week. So we were down one of our primary patrol boats almost the majority of the summer. And again, no fault of anybody, but the manufacturer had to close their factory down and we didn't get it. We primarily use our jet skis and our boats for patrol. We have deputies scheduled 7 days a week, usually on the weekdays in the summer from about 8 o'clock in the morning till either 8 or 10 o'clock at night. And then on the weekends, it may vary depending on what we have and what we have going on. But we usually run them again from about 10 o'clock in the morning till 8, 9 o'clock at night in the earlier part of the summer, a lot of times till 10 o'clock at night as well. One of the big challenges we had this year is every one of our lakes have seen between about a 30 to 50% increase with boats on their lakes. We do not have the right to move through a landing any faster than anybody else unless we're taking an emergency. Just like we don't have the right to run red lights or stoplights when we're just out on routine patrol. On an average boat and water shift on a weekend, we can hit about 5 lakes if we do it right. This summer we were down to about 3 to 4 just because of the time it takes us to get on the lake and the time it takes us to get off the lake. If there is an emergency, then we do have the right to actually stop everybody and get on and get off. But otherwise, we have to wait just like everybody else. We don't have a special privilege with that. One of the complaints we get a lot, well, people say, hey, we called and it took you guys an hour and a half to show up. If myself or Sergeant Scherber are out on Clearwater Lake, you guys give us a call and we're the closest unit, absolutely. We got to take the boat, get off at Clearwater Lake, wait in line, put it on the trailer, drive here, wait in line again, put it in and come on. So we do rely a lot on our patrol deputies as well. A lot of times if we're not close, you might see them showing up. People are very used to a very quick response when they call for law enforcement, and that's pretty common. We average between about 2 to 5 minutes on emergency calls, but it's unique with what we deal with, and we're just not able to be there that quick. Every once in a while, we're right there, or we're putting in, or we're coming off, and we're able to do it, but otherwise it just takes us a little bit more time to get out there and to get on the water. We keep track of what our deputies do, and we try to make sure that we give as much patrol to every lake, but we have roughly over about 120, 130 navigable lakes within Wright County. So again, it gets very hard for us to be on every lake every weekend. Sometimes we only get it once every couple of weeks. And then again, if we get calls for service, it takes us off more too. So we do try to patrol our busier lakes, our bigger lakes more, the ones that we get more calls for service. We try to patrol weekdays, weekends. We try to give it as much as we can. Arguably, most people would like to see us out more, but again, we do the best with what we have, and we try to be out as much as we can. The number one complaints that we get If it's not a high water year, because that would definitely be our number one, is the no wakes when we have high water. The next one's jet skis. All jet skis are supposed to have their stickers on it that lets the operators know the hours of operation, what they can and what they can't do. If they're underage, they need to have their water certificate. So we go out and we check on that. But this year, by far, we've seen, like I said, a tremendous amount of boats and jet skis and complaints when it comes to it. All jet skis need to be 150 feet away from shore or any boat at any given time. And like I said, we tend to see a lot of issues with that. It's not just in Wright County. Sergeant Scherber and I go to monthly meetings when we meet with all the Metro boat and water units. They're all dealing with the same stuff. We do try to enforce, but we also try to educate. We have discretion based on what we deal with, and sometimes a ticket isn't the best, but we do write tickets, we do write citations, we do write verbal warnings, and then we do educate as well. So we get a lot of different calls for service. And like I said, some days, like on the 4th of July, we had a major incident at one of our lakes where a young wakeboarder was seriously cut by a wake boat and had to get flown in down to the Metro, and that took up most of our day. So people were wondering where we were while we were tied up on those types of things. So those are kind of the questions I get. We didn't see you, we didn't have you. The other thing, the questions are, we do not govern or make any laws or regulations as to what types of watercrafts can go on what lakes and what sized lakes. That is not something that the Sheriff's Office has any power or authority to do over that. The DNR has to do that. In the meetings that I've sat in over my years, the DNR is absolutely not interested in looking at banning any sort of wake boats or anything based on size of the lakes. That's their call, that's their decision. We do not have the authority, our sheriff does not have the ability to ban or do any of that. The only time we can do it is if it's a lake that's surrounded by like a county park. They can make it a non-motorized type lake, or if it's a specific lake that's not allowed to have any sort of motorized boats on it, then we can deal with that. But other than that, any questions?
I don't really have a question, but I'm from the other side of Lake Pulaski shores, and my husband and I are on the board there, and 2 years ago we started a padlock system on our landing.
Yep.
We used to see you guys out there a lot. Let me know who I can contact, and we change our number every year so that only the members get the number and can land their boats or their jet skis or whatever.
And we do have another private landing that allows us to use here too. So like I said, sometimes we're able to come in or not. It just kind of depends on certain boats and what we have, but Sergeant Scherber would be the person.
Well, you won't have a line like you have here.
And we do appreciate that. We have about 5 lakes in the county that allow us to use their private landings, either give us the keys or the code. We would much rather use the private landings for one of the simple facts that the minute that we come in here with our boat, everybody knows that we're here, and the navigational operation seems to change. So not that we want to go out and catch people, but even on a lake this size, if we're out for about 10-15 minutes, it's pretty easy. We're on this side and all the boats are over on that side. So we do try to go out and we try to observe every boat. We don't have the legal right to stop and check every boat unless we see some sort of violation. We used to have that right to actually go up, stop a boat, talk to them, and just do a routine inspection. We lost that ability a few years ago. There was a court case where an attorney that lives on Lake Minnetonka got a DWI from Hennepin County, and they fought that, and it changed the way we were able to handle or just go up and check on boats and different things too. So we've been more restricted with what we're able to do, and it's a challenge at sometimes when a boat's moving to be able to see if there's any violations or not. But we don't have that legal right to just stop them just because.
You mentioned 150 feet for a jet ski from another boat, and you also said from shore. I thought the regulation was 300 feet from shore.
No, it's 150 unless you're, and it can even be closer if you're dropping off a skier or picking up a skier, leaving with a skier too. So there's a.
It's 100, yeah. It's actually, every jet ski is required to have that sticker on it.
Right.
And it says it on there. It's 150 feet. The reason the reason this came up a lot is the older jet skis had basically a throttle. They had no reverse or anything, so that was always to have that safer distance for them. They work on that bilge. Newer jet skis now kind of have reverse and stuff, but that's what the law is. It's not 300.
And 1 hour prior to sunset.
1 hour prior to sunset.
Speaking of sunset, I see a lot of boats running without lights after dark.
Yep.
And, there's no one out there to police that, and that's really dangerous. Is there anything you can do about that or control for that?
What I tell a lot of people too is, with all these lakes, it's impossible for us to see every violation. We do rely on the people on the lakes to call and to let us know. I can tell you with a lot of lake associations, the complaints that I would get over the years would be from the association president, whoever else, but they were getting complaints about things that were happening a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and that makes it very hard for us to deal with it. Even if we don't have a boat close, if we get a call, we will respond. We will have a patrol deputy or somebody respond. And we've been actually very successful with, even from shore, getting boats to come in, waiting for them at the landing, or tracking them to their house and sighting them. But we do rely on the people that live on the lake. We do rely on the people in neighborhoods to bring us to some of these, because we're just not able to see it all. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to call because I know it's my neighbor, or I don't want to call because I don't want anything to happen. But the reality of it is it's everybody's job out on this lake to help keep it safe as well as ours. You can call and make an anonymous report if you wish. You can also call and be confidential. With anonymous reports, it doesn't give us a ton of room to make a lot of contact, but with confidential, what that means is we have your information, it's put into the report, but it's not public information. So somebody couldn't just come and ask for a copy of that report and get your information. We deem that confidential. But you can call and say, I'd like to make a confidential or anonymous report. This is what's going on. There's a boat out on the lake or 2 boats out. Ideally, it helps to get a description, but at night you're probably not going to see it very well. If one of our guys are on, they'll definitely come. Most of the time, we're able to figure out where they're at. If they're coming here, we'll just wait for them instead of putting on, and then we'll cite them when they come in.
Yeah, and I have a link, or it's actually on the website, to a lot of the complaints and so forth that we received this year. I've talked to Sergeant Johnson about that, and I have their number, the Water Patrol's number, and everything on the website. And again, if you have any questions like that, contact them. Unfortunately, there really isn't anything as LID that I can do or the board can do, except the same thing that you would do is contact the Water Patrol and let them know. Video it, take a picture like some of you have done. That works.
We have been actually very successful with some videos and citing after the fact. Ideally, we would like to get there and we would like to observe the violation ourselves. It just makes it a lot easier if the citation is contested or what have you. If you need an immediate service for us, the number to call is 911. Do not worry about feeling weird because it's probably not an emergency. You'd be amazed on what people call 911 for. What time's the Buffalo Parade start? Do they got a corn dog stand? But I promise you there's not going to be anything that you call for. But if you want a deputy, because people will call me as well, if they call and ask for boat and water, they'll put it to my office phone, and then I get it the next day. So if you want someone to respond immediately, just call 911. Immediately when you call 911, they actually ask if this is an emergency. If not, they hit a button and put you out, take you off the non-emergency line. You won't even know what happens, but that is the best way to report any sort of incident on the lake is to dial 911. It's the quickest way and it's the easiest way for us to know.
If anybody has any other questions, the number again is on the website to contact the Water Patrol. You can leave a message for Sergeant Johnson or Scherber, and they're going to be more than happy to respond to you within a timely fashion if they're not on call or whatever, and answer those questions. But in the interest of time, I want to make sure that these gentlemen get home to see their family. And again, thank you for coming and for the dedication and hard work and standing up and doing what you do. We greatly appreciate it. So thanks, gentlemen.